There, are we good? Sorry about that. I misclicked. Okay. Are we back? Are we good? Are we back? Okay, back. Alright, cool. Just a momentary blip. Sorry about that. I may or may not have pressed the stop streaming button. That one's on me. That one was on me. That one was on me. My bad. I blame the hackers? Sure. I'll do, yeah, sure. Let's do that one. I blame the hackers too. How a GOP majority in Congress might handle Biden in 2023. Oh man, it's happening. It's happening. Republicans are feeling so good about their chances of retaking Congress this fall that they're already debating whether their governing relationship with President Biden, and they're divided on how to handle their potential big wins. With Biden and Democrats floundering right now, that's pretty accurate. That's pretty accurate. The GOP is increasingly favored to vault back to partial power in Washington by flipping the House and also potentially the Senate in the coming midterms. What comes next isn't quite clear. Some Republicans are mulling a way to collaborate with Biden on issues like trade, energy, or tech. Yikes. Trade, energy, or tech. Energy meaning we want more fossil fuels? What does that mean? F? Are we still good? Wait. Wait, are we still good? I'm okay? Alright. It's fine for me? Alright. Yeah, just hit that quick refresh button, you'll be good. I'm gonna type in chat. Good here. Okay. Yeah, that's my B. Sorry, folks. Some Republicans are mulling ways to collaborate with Biden on issues like trade, energy, or tech, and others are prepared to go scorched earth as their party eyes the bigger prize of retaking the White House in 2024, which is exactly where my predictions were heading. Is that not the case? How many times have you guys heard that my prediction is going to be the Democratic Party is going to get shellacked in the midterms? Yeah, it's a baby F. And then because of that, they're going to lose in 2024. Because of the perception of this administration floundering around or unable to get their big issue pieces of their platform passed or even attempted to be passed. This has been a consistent concern of mine since the apparent failure of the Democratic Party to even get the Build Back Better bill, budget reconciliation, effectively passed. That's basically what's happening. The GOP's pro-bipartisanship camp may not have had a lot of space in 2023 to work with the president. Funding the government and raising the debt ceiling will be a major challenge, given how often the House and Senate Republicans diverge on critical pieces of legislation. And former President Trump will continue trying to influence the party's direction, criticizing Senate GOP leader Mitch McConnell and anyone else who steps out of line with his combative politics. Yeah, it's one way of putting it, I guess. Given those dynamics, there's no unified GOP agenda for voters to examine this fall other than up and down vote on Biden and congressional Dems records. Republicans aren't sure what will happen next if they actually win. Well, what's going to happen is simply nothing. That's it. Nothing. That's the goal, for nothing to happen. It's really going to be a referendum on him and his administration and on the Democratic leadership in Congress. John Thune, the number 2 state Senate Republican, who's also running for re-election. So we need to stay out of our own way. See, they seem to understand that. It's really important for us to highlight the differences and how we would do it differently. And then we have some things that we would do or could do if there was a willingness to work together. For now, it's Democrats holding shaky but singular power in Washington. Yeah. Basically no power. Consuming the Capitol's oxygen as they struggle to enact Biden's agenda. But the GOP split over whether to work with Biden, even now from the minority, would come from the nation's central political story if it retakes part or all of Congress this fall. With that victory would come the messy job of actually governing, preventing credit defaults, and the government shutdown at a minimum. And just as a trio of conservative senators once battled former President Obama on all fronts, they sought the White House. There's a stable of Senate and House Republicans with national political ambitions that could cut against any attempts to collaborate with Biden. Not to mention the passel of Republicans disinterested in the presidency were already signaling they'll push to block Biden at every turn. Yeah, nice meme. Nice meme. Putting a stop to his agenda is the first thing that we would do because that's presumably what people would be voting for. No, that's not always the case. Of course, Senator Josh Hawley, a potential GOP... Like, if this guy runs for office, that's super dangerous and scary. 2024 GOP White House hopeful who led the objection to Biden's election certification. The message would be, if we're in the majority, we need to stop what he's currently doing. No, that's not necessarily true. That's a horrendous leap in logic. That's a horrendous leap. This is like... Okay. This is like saying that the country loves Joe Biden so much that they voted for him so much. No, that's not necessarily the case. They voted for Joe Biden because they wanted Trump gone. That's it. It's not because they wanted Joe Biden. It's because they wanted Trump gone. Okay? So this is a horrendous leap in logic. Oh yeah, because we don't want the Dems, that must mean we want whatever the hell he wants, which is scary in and of itself. But the point being is that this is a horrendous leap in logic. It could just be, and this is just me spitballing here, it could just be that the Democratic Party has been ineffective and people's perception of the Democratic Party is so low that they just won't get out there and vote for them. That's it. It could just be that. It could just be that. F Joe Biden and also F Trump, true. Still the most powerful Senate Republican has indicated an openness to work with Biden, already feeling bullish on his party's chances this fall. McConnell said in a late September interview, "I don't think the people sent us here to do nothing." You're correct, but yet you do nothing. How many bills has Mitch McConnell sank without even a chance of debate? How many bills did Mitch McConnell sink? How much political capital and time has he spent blocking, obstructing, tabling? In other words, do nothing. That's very rich coming from Mitch McConnell. When you have a closely divided government or a divided government, McConnell added then in previously unreported comments, "I think the American people are saying, we know you have some big differences and either you may not be able to move the ball the way you'd like, but why don't you look for things that you agree on and do those? It depends on what said things are." Jesus. McConnell pointed to trade as a potential area for future cooperation with Biden. As a Senate Majority Leader during the last 2 years of the Obama administration, McConnell famously blocked the president from filling the Supreme Court vacancy and slowed other judicial confirmations to a trickle. McConnell won't say how he handled the Supreme Court vacancy if one comes up in 2023 or 2024 and he controls the Senate. The Democrats are positive he wouldn't fill one for Biden either. I agree. Yet McConnell also cut a deal with Obama to fast-track new trade deals that then Democratic leader Harry Reid did not lend a hand with. McConnell later then clinched a bipartisan transformation deal with Obama and Democrats as minority leader, which kind of weird because isn't the wife ended up being transportation secretary? As minority leader during this Congress, McConnell signed off on a huge Biden-backed infrastructure bill after he repeated threats that he would do otherwise, allowed the debt ceiling to increase. Nice meme. House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy and House Republicans opposed those accommodations by the Kentucky Republican, as did Trump. Unlike McConnell, McCarthy and his conference are in the thrall of the former party's president. That means the House Freedom Caucus. Love the name. Nice meme. And other allies of the former president will try to maximize Democrats' losses, even at the expense of legislation some rank-and-file Republicans otherwise would support. Of course, because that's what it's about for them. It's literally about doing nothing, making sure that nothing happens, and then making the other party look bad. When asked about areas House Republicans could team up on with Biden, Georgia Representative Drew Ferguson, a member of the GOP leadership, replied tersely, on anything that's not socialist. But the problem is, wait. House Republicans could team up with Biden on anything that's not socialist, except... Wait. If that's the case, then they would have to explain to me, or they would have to explain to, in this case, who this guy is, to Georgians, what, quote, socialist policies has Biden proposed? Can he give us one that would say that undeniably this is a socialist policy? Or is socialist just a scary buzzword to scare people? Who defines, and who gets to define what is socialist? Because in their heads, anything remotely close to, expanding social safety nets is considered socialism, which is not true. That's not what it means. They use that as a boogeyman. They use that as a boogeyman for anything that they don't like. So in other words, if I don't like this, I'll just call it socialist and be done with it, and people will be fine. Child labor laws, yep, socialist. That public posturing reflects a real concern that among Republicans that Biden might not be willing to pivot from his current agenda of expanding social and climate programs. Yeah, you see the implication being that this is socialism, or this is socialistic. No way. No way. And gutting filibuster to pass election reform in order to work with Republicans on what could possibly be a small bore issue. With a bipartisan infrastructure plan already law, there's fewer obvious opportunities for collaboration with the other party at the moment. Yeah, so TLDR of this whole thing is they're preparing for what seems to be a an all but likely scenario of a GOP House and Senate. That's what this is about. Personally, I'm tired of the extreme left while sitting in a bucket of right-wing that refuses to wash it off because the Dems won't heat the water up to perfect temperature. I can agree. I don't know what that means though. Bike Shop Guru. Depends on what you mean. Depends on what you mean. If you mean that, well, first of all, I don't know what extreme left means. And second of all, I don't get it. So we're not allowed to criticize the Democratic Party because they're acting in a way that is leading to a far worse outcome. So we're not allowed to say anything because they're not perfect. That doesn't seem right to me. I think that whoever is in power should be criticized. And you know what? We got out there and voted for them. Well, some of us did. So yeah, we should be out there and demanding or asking why certain things aren't happening. I understand that not everything is going to happen. I understand that Biden just can't snap his fingers and make everything good. I understand that there's a lot of complexities involved with our undeniably pretty crap way of handling things. Pretty crap system. Undeniably, there are serious issues, and I understand that things won't just fix themselves like this. Just because the Democratic Party is in power does not mean we get everything we want. I get that. That's okay. But can we get, like, some effort? Can we get some show that you actually care about any of these issues? Can we get some spunk? Huh? Can we get some fight? Can we get some, like, attempts at gathering Democratic leadership and say, you know what? We gotta... Hold on, guys. Look. The timeout. Halftime. Alright? Halftime. Midterms are coming up. We need to deliver on something, okay? Pick that something and do it. And right now, in my opinion, the Build Back Better budget reconciliation program seems to be a good way of racking up a couple of W's to show the electorate, to show the American people that, hey, we are doing something, and here's some palpable results. Constructive criticism is bad? Yeah. There's so much they can do, especially when Obama was in there, the supermajority, they don't give a shit. Apparently, that seems to be more and more apparent. And like, I understand that in this iteration, there is no supermajority. I get that there's problems, and I get that it's not easy, and I get that you can't just snap your fingers and make it all happen. I get that, and that's okay. But like, we need something, okay? We need something to show that, hey, we care, and two, here's what we're doing about it, okay? That's it. That's all I want. And I think the best way that they have right now, given the circumstances and given the time frame that we've got right now, is the Build Back Better budget reconciliation. That should be all hands on deck on that one. There should be all hands on deck. There should be a campaign, what is it? A campaign, PR campaign for Arizona, West Virginia, and any other holdout. Constantly, there should be, if it can't be Joe Biden, Kamala Harris should be out there as much as humanly possible in front of the media, in front of the TV, saying, hey, this is how this is going to benefit you. Hey, this is going to benefit you in X, Y, and Z. Hey, this is important because of X, Y, and Z. And you as the electorate should probably talk to Joe Manchin about this. Or like something, please, Jesus Christ. Otherwise, it's just gonna feel a bit empty. Please, to show any sort of shits to give, show, not tell, because the work of saying ain't doing. Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, at least tell me, give me something. Jesus Christ, tell me that you're making some type of effort to go to Joe Manchin or to go to Cinema or anyone who's holding out and be like, hey, you're gonna have to explain to your electorate why they don't deserve child tax credits. You're gonna have to explain to seniors in your state why they shouldn't have expansion of Social Security benefits for eye and dental care or whatever it is that they want to do. You're gonna have to go and explain to the American people why student debt shouldn't be eliminated or addressed in any way, shape, or form. You're gonna have to explain to the American people why 2 years of college is actually bad. Explain that to them, please. I mean, you could argue that largely Democrat base have already had the #1 electoral promise fulfilled. They got rid of Trump. Yeah, but that's not... I disagree with that, I think. That's not That's not good enough. That's not good enough. That was a one and done. They absolutely achieved that. They got rid of Trump. In the sense that he didn't win the election. They got rid of him. But like, that's not all they had promised, and that's not all they were put on their platform. Because, for example, the Georgia Senate races, that's not a presidential race. That was the main reason people cited voting Democrats. So is that more problem with the electorate or problem with the party? Both? Like, the presidential election is different. The presidential election was mostly about getting rid of Trump, not necessarily supporting Biden. But the overall wins that they had in the House and Senate can only be described as attributed to their platform. I mean, like, people got out there in large numbers to vote for the Democratic Party based on whatever platform there was. Remember, there was a huge effort in Georgia for people to vote because there was some sort of talk about an extra stimulus check that never materialized, by the way. An extra stimulus check that never materialized or was underwhelming. There was good ideas in the party platform that just never seemed to have materialized. And I think that that's going to depress the voter turnout. And that's the problem. I think that's going to end up... They did this to themselves. That's what I'm trying to say. They did this to themselves. I don't disagree with you that the main reason why people got out there and voted for Joe Biden is to remove Trump. I don't disagree with that. I just feel like if they don't give people something to vote for, that's gonna turn back on them in this midterms. I'm not saying this is what I agree with, but I'm more playing devil's advocate. The Democratic Party can just point to all the survey data and go, well, sure, your main objective was to vote for us so we could remove Trump, and we've done that. If you cared about the other stuff, why didn't you mention it? Yeah, but like, that's not... Because, I mean, if people actually cared about, say, Medicare or wealth distribution, why didn't they vote for Sanders? While that's a good point, there's other forces in play as well. There's other forces in play. The primaries were wildly different than the actual national election, right? Like, does that make sense? And they're ran in completely different ways, I would say. We're talking about two different scenarios. And if they didn't want, and if they didn't think about anything regarding at least mentioning the idea of healthcare or stuff like that, then why does the Democratic Party claim to support any of these ideas in the beginning? Why run on something like Medicare for all, which some did? Some did. Then why run on the idea of expanding Social Security, or sorry, Medicare. Then why run on the idea of voting for higher taxes on billionaires? And why run on these on your platform? Then what is the point of running on that? That's my question then. TLDR, folks, get ready, because I suspect that this is the inevitable outcome. And in this situation, the Dems have no one else to blame but themselves. Well, these are important questions. It's a broader question of how much messaging is purely rhetoric and how much is actual policy they believe in. I mean, it's a bit of an open secret that Biden is very cool on a lot of these ideas, and he has needed convincing to get on board with large parts of it. Yeah, so then where is, like, then I go back to the same question, like, where is the attempt to, like, at least do something? Like, I mean, it just feels, I don't know if there's more stuff in the background. I don't know how, hard of a push there's really going on in the background. I'm not there for any backdoor negotiations or backdoor meetings that they're having with Democratic leadership, but certainly to the outside, it has the perception, or we have the perception, that we're just not there. The energy isn't there. The push for any type of attempt to get much of anything done, with the except there are some good things that they did. That's not to deny them that. The child tax credits were great, but we're failing to be able to continue these good policies and add to that. I mean, like the Build Back Better, it's right there. It's literally a free string of W's. Free. It's right there. It's within your grasp to give to win some W's right there. Expand the public education to 2 years of community college at least. Expand the child tax credits. Begin to work on green energy infrastructure. I don't get it. Like, these are jobs. These are economic boosters. Like, this is a no-brainer. Prosecutor. Oh, by the way, folks, we've got a new update. Representative Matt Gaetz' ex-girlfriend granted immunity in sex trafficking probe. Oh man, she's definitely turned. Prosecutors granted immunity to an ex-girlfriend of Representative Matt Gaetz before she testified last week in front of a grand jury hearing evidence in the investigation of the congressman, according to a source familiar with the matter. Gaetz has been under investigation to determine if he violated sex trafficking laws and obstructed justice in that probe. Gaetz has previously denied all wrongdoing, and he said he'd never paid for sex nor had sex with an underage girl. Yeah, okay. The woman, who CBS is not naming to protect her privacy, testified in front of a federal grand jury in Orlando last Wednesday. She is viewed as a potential key witness, according to 2 sources familiar with the investigation. One of the sources said she has information related to the investigation of both of the sex trafficking and obstruction allegations. So we've got a potential serious witness here, as she is now granted immunity. So definitely it feels like they've got a little bit more leverage to be able to take this action, right? Seems to be very serious. The walls seem to continue to close in on Matt Gaetz. I think it's an extension of a very systematic problem that has become worse in the last 2 decades. Gridlock, just as absolute stalemate, because sides aren't willing to compromise and are often relying on unprecedented majorities or subversion of norms and pushing executive aggrandizement to overcome it. I agree with the idea of the subversion of norms, and therefore the whole thing starts to. It's so fragile. The fact that, like, a lot of our institutions are, like, based on norms, And when said norms are just like not law or not strict rules, it just kind of falls apart like a house of cards. I agree with that, and I agree that, gridlock has been incredibly frustrating, and there are questions about whether or not the democratic system that we have is really working. It's, first of all, kind of a stretch to call it a democratic system, so the answer to all of this is more democracy. The answer to all of this is more democracy. In order for a democracy to work, or to be healthy, we have to have transparency, strong institutions that do what they're supposed to be doing. In other words, for example, there's no such thing as subversion of norms because they're all codified, very specific, very good guardrails in place for said institutions to do what they're supposed to be doing. Ooh, got something in my eye. And inclusion. In other words, people have to participate. If these things are broken, if these three sides, pillars, whatever you want to call them, are broken, then we have a broken democracy. Part of the problems that we're having is the institutions that we have are failing, particularly the Senate. We have no transparency. We have no transparency in a lot of these situations, and overall, we have a pretty apathetic populace. We have no inclusion. People aren't participating. Education is a key factor to a healthy democracy. I agree. You can sprinkle that one on too, for a caveat on top. But these three are necessary. These three are necessary in order for this to function. When you have institutions that are broken, such as the Senate, when you have no transparency as to what's going on, a lot of times people don't realize what kind of bills are being passed. Who knows? A lot of people don't even participate in their local council, state elections, let alone federal. Without education, the populace will not know how to vote or what their needs are. Well, I think that certainly a educated populace certainly makes decisions differently, and I would say that we should have education kind of as a standard, right? It's kind of a standard: food, housing, education, healthcare. These are four things that are necessary. I'm talking about specifically separate from the way I think a functional, healthy democracy needs. I think that there's certainly an argument for that. Brad Crochet, how's it going? It's definitely coming under more strain, but I think we have to be careful to assume that it's just devolving more power to the popular can resolve it too, because democratic deliberation on any scale relies heavily on trust, respect, and cooperation. I don't think these things exist even on a basic level, and in many ways I actually think the divisiveness of Congress is a symptom of that, not a cause. There may be some truth to that, actually. That this is all just symptoms of a seriously broken system that is not democratic, that has a facade of democracy, but not really. But I think that, regardless, I think that democratizing certain aspects would help. I think that democratizing certain aspects would help. And I think that maybe it could lead to to more positive outcomes when it comes to trust and cooperation. But I think there is certainly truth to the fact that, this whole nonsense that's happening is in Congress and whatnot is a symptom, not a cause. I think that you are correct in that sense. I think you're correct. I think that we're watching the symptoms and not the underlying causes, which have been in the works for decades at this point. This didn't just happen. This didn't just occur out of nowhere. These are chickens coming home to roost, and here we are. I think this is decades of failure in the making, and that has contributed to erode whatever semblance of democracy that we had, and it continued to be degraded to the point that here we are. There maybe will come a time where America may have to choose if it wants to try and repair its divided citizenry or choose to split them apart on a more institutional level, because you can't sustain a healthy form of governance if it continues to get worse. It's already leading to some pretty dangerous events. I will agree with the idea that we've got to figure this out. And you're right. It definitely can and might lead to even more dangerous events than what we've already seen. Yes, that is quite true. Quite disturbing. That is true. That is true. Alright folks, unfortunately it is about 11:14, 11:15 almost. I do have to get going, however, folks, stick around as we head out, and make sure you hit the follow button. It does really help us out. Join us Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. Eastern Time, as this is the chillest place to be for news and politics. And, folks, mark this on your calendar on the 20th, alright, and spread the word far and wide. On the 20th, we will have the Beckosphere on, to talk about the climate, crisis. So please, make sure you mark that on your calendar. January 20th, this Thursday, tune in, to our regular stream. She'll be on at 10 a.m. and we'll have a great conversation about the climate crisis as we try to deliver on our promise to try to make more collaborations and focus even harder on this climate crisis. Back? Okay, good. You're just in time, Kal-El. You're just in time. Join us January 20th, 9 a.m. Eastern Time, regular stream time. The Beckosphere will be on halfway through, about 10. To have a talk with us on the climate crisis. So I'm pretty excited about that. January 20th, the big live will be on, and we'll have the we'll have the Beckosphere on, and I think it's gonna be a great collaboration. I'm super excited. So hey, join us. Spread the word. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one. It's my attempt to deliver on that promise of trying to get more collaborations done, especially with those folks that know what they're doing with the climate crisis. She is fantastic, keeping up a record of all the news when it comes to climate change. If you go to her channel, it's all there, concise, all there we go. Just go to her channel. We'll try to get this one done tomorrow. Unfortunately, we don't have time today, but I'll post the link in chat. We're going to be watching this one tomorrow, and super excited. Appreciate it. Chai Bureaucrat, 17 months. Big poggers. Thank you so much. 17 months. Wow. Thank you so much for that support. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, Chai's big royalty here. 17 months. Madame Defarge, 13 months. I mean, geez. How do I even begin to address the amount of awesomeness that you guys are for supporting this channel? I mean, how do I even begin to express with words other than thank you? Super big poggers, humongous poggers, record-breaking poggers, one could say. I mean, there's no words. There are no words, that's for sure. You are awesomeness. No, I don't know about that, but you guys are certainly, extremely awesome, and I appreciate that support. I mean, geez, I would never have thought to look at a Dak Apollyon as well for 15 months. For 5 months, sorry. Tina for 5 months. I mean, I'm just scrolling back down here, and it's just like, I would have never thought to scroll down to my activity feed and to look at anybody just subscribing for 1 month. But as I look here, like the amount of support, I mean, has just been unbelievable. Unbelievable. We've got some people going on for 9 months, 2 month streak at a time. I mean, Jesus, some of y'all have just been absolutely beyond generous, and definitely, I don't know, between you and Heat, I don't know who's got the most. 17 months is pretty up there, that's for sure. 17 months is pretty up there. I appreciate that. 17 months. You guys are fighting for pole position there. I don't know who has more, you or Heat 420. That is just unbelievable. That is unbelievable. Never I thought I would think that I would see that on my activity feed. I do appreciate it. Thank you guys. Alright folks, unfortunately that is all the time I have today. It is 11:20. Mark your calendars, January 20th. What does this lobby get them? So close to the ear of the streamer. That's right. It's actually the only way to get into my ears. To get really into my ears, like literally. I can hear Chai Bureaucrat right now. And wait. Uh-huh. I see. I know what I have to do now. All these stubs are in my ears. So now I gotta do it.
We had no idea.
This is the Oyo personal gym. I've sold.
Now I gotta do it.
Would have held her head down and she would have drowned. If the bucket had filled with water, it would have held her head down and she would have drowned. I saw the deer in the water actually swimming in circles. I took my boots off, took my vest off, and went into the water. It was ice cold. I just knew that we had a life or death situation here and I had to act fast. Now she was going further and further out, and I didn't feel confident to swim out there and grab her and bring her back.
The boat, right?
saw a boat at the other end of the bay.
Right here! Buddy, come get me, I'll get him!
The guy hurt me.
It's a paint can stuck on his head.
I've been
right.
behind the IKEA panel this
I'm
whole
an animal
time,
rescue.
true.
So he came and he pulled me up, got me onto the boat.
I got the call that it was
That's
jammed
right.
on. When I came, he was already in the water.
Try to go nice and slow.
If I get it off, he'll be able to go back to the shore on his own. Unless I just grab him and put him on the boat.
Wow, let's see if he swims right. We get the can off. Come here, girl. Come on.
Poor thing.
I'm gonna help you.
A little closer. A little bit closer.
I'm laying on the front of the boat and I'm trying to grab the pail.
A little bit more, a little bit more. Almost. Once I grab this handle.
The
I know.
sad part is that this situation would have never been a problem hadn't it been for humans.
I got it. Nope.
There's
Went under
no
the
there's
boat.
no paint cans in nature.
Yes.
It's off.
All right, baby.
It's off.
Now you can see.
Can you go by and get me that bucket?
All right. Woo-hoo, that's nice.
Woo! We got it, buddy. I felt it pull my fingers and it just slid right off. That's amazing.
Poor little dude.
All right, girl. Let's get you back.
Yeah, maybe.
Should I try
Can
to get her
deer
on the
swim long distances?
Yeah, we gotta chase her,
I mean, as long as they want
Yeah,
to
she's just
keep
going in
going
circles.
because they have to survive.
but... All right. I'm gonna grab her.
I'm gonna get you on the beach. Grab her?
Yeah.
All right.
I laid on the front of the boat and
There's
I
no paint can
grabbed her
issues.
to
Where have
the
I
front
been
of the boat
dumping my
and
expired
held her.
paint cans? Oh no!
Let go. Perfect. Just hold her easy. She's gonna run right away.
And she actually was very calm. I was able to feel her heartbeat in my
Aw.
hand.
All right, honey. Almost there. She should be able to stand now. Go ahead. Yeah.
Go for it, little buddy.
Beautiful.
Brad just trying to
It was great
return the
seeing
paint
her
cans
run
back
off.
to their parents. True.
So this was the bucket that was on her head. If people just recycled their garbage better, these animals wouldn't get themselves in so much trouble.
True.
They deserve to be able to enjoy Mother Nature as much as we do.
They are nature. Anyways, feel good story. Always a good way to end the stream. Always a good way to end stream. Like I said, this was whispered in my ear by Chai Bureaucrat, executive producer of the stream. Cities don't recycle, at least not mine. Yeah, cities have different different recycling rules, I assume. Not all of them are good. Alright folks, for real though, thank you guys so much for joining. It's probably a good feel-good story to end the stream. I appreciate you guys hanging out here. Thank you so much for the support, Chai Bureaucrat. Thank you, Spread It Forward. Thank you to everyone who's hanging out here. Kal-El, Chai Bureaucrat, Bread Crochet, Alio. And make sure you guys follow these folks too. Anybody with a little diamond usually is a pretty poggers person. Thank you, James Napper. Madame Defarge, make sure you hit that follow button for Madame Defarge. See, make sure I got everybody. Nightwolf TV, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. Dandera, thank you for hanging out with us. I appreciate that. We've got quite far getting rid of paint cans. Yeah. I hope I got everybody. I think so. Folks, if you enjoyed the channel, don't forget to hit the follow button. Join us January 20th. It's going to be a good one. As always, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. I love you all, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. See ya! Cheers! Hang tight with us. We're heading over to the chap who does wonderful commentary when it comes to environmental stuff. We're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. See ya.